It's my phone. Is it playing on? It's playing on. I know, Mom. She doesn't keep her phone turned on. I'm sorry that happened. Her phone number is in your phone machine in the directory. Yeah. Well, when you push the button, it's first it shows Denise Kenny, and then it shows Denise. So she's in there. You can't see it while we're talking, but yeah, she's in there. All right, and we can check again. What? You push the one button, the only button that you need to push. It's next to the sticker, the directory button. And you push it and you read the names. The names come up on the screen. Just like you called me. How did you call me? The same way you called me. Her name will come up. Okay? All right, love you. Yeah, so I don't have it in. Okay. This. Okay, so
well, you just do what you need to do, because I mean, that's not really helping to, I'm trying to go through this, I'm trying to get to the point where I could actually do it.
Yeah, no, I can show you, but just right now.
Well, I thought
I had already started.
here, so I was looking for that's why
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I can tell you what we do, but I just.
we need to do the recall button here.
Yeah, so here's this. So you push this block. Okay, here's the seams, okay? This is rocket, and then there's the recall. Okay, I had already done it. You already did it. I already did it. So,
okay, well, I think I'm just going to wait until he's here.
Here it says
we were going to meet here at 10:30, and so just this and that is not really.
Yeah, anyway.
This is much more helpful. I'll just read this.
Okay. And then if you could put that back on the cart.
I will.
Okay.
I did, I got them all cut.
Did you end up going to the Underground Cafe last Sunday?
I did.
I missed it. I ended up being with Jennifer.
The driftwood is tomorrow or Monday, tomorrow.
Well, tomorrow's the Apocalypse Cafe that Mary's doing, so I'm going to go to that probably.
Conrad is such a good dog. He sees my water bottle sitting here. He lifts it slightly, picks it up, runs out, and now he's filling it. This goes on all the time.
Hi.
Monday coffee.
Yeah, that would be good. That would be an addition.
Yeah. She always says that a walker could. I said, yeah, you're kind of a walker. She said, no, I'm not. You are. I said, how are you doing? Check. I said, you just happen to be my neighbor also. Yes. She said, that's true. Thank you, darling. Oh, it's on already? Never mind.
And then these other two go on top, okay?
Conrad,
Morning.
how are ya?
I'm fine.
I'm sorry, I didn't volunteer to be loud, so.
Oh.
I got kind of thought, you know what, I could do that, and then I got to thinking, but what if I don't feel like
Yeah.
going to this thing?
Yeah.
And I better not.
Yes. I do have a spare Lao-Tzu that I could always read, but I understand, you know, it's better to not,
Not committed if you can't do it, so.
yeah, not stress out.
But I had such a good time with Sunday before.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's good. Yeah, I think that's really, it feels really good to be here.
Yeah, it really does. Mary Buckley has COVID.
Mary Buckley?
She tested yesterday. They just got back from a trip to California for her sister's.
Right.
I think from the way she described Sharupa, I suspect Sharupa has it too. But she's young and healthy, not feeling it. And Mary's feeling it. I'm fine. Am I okay? I suppose I better text her.
I answered her right away. I told her we were in church on Sunday, getting better.
Yeah.
Get together a few times before the number of things.
Oh, right.
Sounds like a wonderful event.
Let's see.
It is.
I'm trying to think.
Are you real busy?
The only thing I have to figure out for
Will you be
her
able to?
is
I'm doing some
by the end of the
recording
year, I
on my
have to
new
figure out
CD.
exactly how many sales she had.
And I did promise Mary I'll be there for the Apocalypse Cafes, so those are Mondays, I think, in October.
Oh, okay.
Other days I'll be free, I think.
It is, yeah, I don't know, there's some lights that showing on and aren't, I guess.
Oh, yeah, I put that down in my calendar. So, yeah, I put that down when I came home. So I'm free then. So I can get together with you beforehand and practice.
Oh, we don't have, the spots aren't on.
Sometimes a good day for me is Fridays. I usually try not to
There we
do
go.
too much on Friday.
Friday is my busy.
Now it's,
Oh, is
now
it?
it's
Oh,
right.
And sometimes Monday too.
Yeah, I just, Friday now. Friday's
Yeah, it
day
is.
that I'm doing, catching up on everything that I didn't do while I was working. Tuesdays,
Tuesday's another day when I have some time.
okay. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are my best.
Yeah, Tuesday was my workout.
Check, check.
Give you a call and find out.
Check.
But I put 11th on my calendar.
Check.
What are we gonna start with?
127, a little different, a cappella.
Children go where I send thee.
As I went down in the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the starry crown, good Lord, show me the way. Oh, sisters, let's go down, let's go down, come on down. Come on, sisters, let's go down, down in the river to pray. As I went down in the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the robe and crown, good Lord, show me the way. Oh, brothers, let's go down, let's go down, come on down. Come on, brothers, let's go down, down in the river to pray. As I went down in the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the starry crown, good Lord, show me the way. Oh, fathers, let's go down, let's go down, don't you want to go down? Come on, fathers, let's go down, down in the river to pray. As I went down in the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the robe and crown, good Lord, show me the way. Oh, mothers, let's go down, let's go down, come on down. Come on, mothers, let's go down, down in the river to pray. As I went down in the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the starry crown, good Lord, show me the way. Oh, sinners, let's go down, let's go down, come on down. Come on, sinners, let's go down, down in the river to pray. As I went down in the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the robe and crown, good Lord, show me the way.
That was nice.
We're always supposed to have 2 unmasked singers, okay? I didn't write the rules. Everybody knows that, and it's not really my job to remind you.
I think that's what we got.
Well, there was.
Tony is unmasked.
What's that?
Tony needs
When
to
you-
put on his mask.
No, it's okay, just, it's only 2, it doesn't matter who it is. You know, but, I'll be honest with you. If your voice carries without the mask, I don't think you.
Okay, what do we want?
Pretty hard to do the math when I'm playing the.
Well, they're talking about when you're singing, not playing.
Oh, okay.
Oh, the Vikings.
Yeah. Good point. How you doing?
We got 95. I'm sorry.
Key of D.
place. They say every distance is not here.
And so I remember every face of everyone who put me here.
I see my light come shining
From the west down to the east. Any day now, any day now, I shall be released. They say everyone needs protection. They say that everyone must fall. But I swear I see my reflection somewhere so high above this wall. I see my light come shining from the west down to the east. Any day now, any day now, I shall be released. Tony. Diane.
They say everyone needs protection.
Crowd.
They say that everyone must fall.
Now you understand the man. All day long.
All day long I hear him shouting so loud, just crying out that he was framed.
I see my light come shining from the west down to the east. Any day now, any day now, I shall be released. Any day now, any day
yeah.
F, it looks like. Yeah, uncloudy day. Like F.
That's today. It is uncloudy.
It's a pretty day. It's a party day.
I don't like F anyway.
I want to request a sound.
Would you want to know what number?
Do that. Oh, they tell me of a home far beyond the sky. They tell me of a home far away. Oh, they tell me of a home where no storm clouds rise. Oh, they tell me of an uncloudy day. Well, they tell me of a home where my friends have gone. They tell me of that land far away, where the tree of life abides in eternal bloom, sheds its fragrance on an uncloudy day. Oh, the land of cloudless days. Oh, the land of an uncloudy sky. Oh, they tell me of a home where no storm clouds rise. Oh, they tell me of an uncloudy day. Well, they tell me of a king and his beauty fair. They tell me that mine eyes shall behold as he sits on a throne that is whiter than snow, in a city that is made of gold. Well, they tell me that he smiles on his children there. This smile drives their sorrows away. And they tell me that no tears ever come again in that lovely land of uncloudy days. Oh, the land of cloudless days. Oh, the land of an uncloudy sky. Oh, they tell me of a home where no storm clouds rise. Oh, they tell me of an uncloudy day. Oh, the land of cloudless days. Oh, the land of an uncloudy sky. Oh, they tell me of a home where no storm clouds rise. Oh, they tell me of an uncloudy day.
Requests? But we're tiny.
128, okay.
Down the valley.
Good one.
Huh.
We haven't done this in a while.
Haven't done this
Long
maybe
time.
ever.
Yeah.
But I think I know it.
Yeah, down in the valley.
I know.
We got this. We got this.
It's good.
We haven't done this in a long time.
Down in the valley so low, hang your head over, hear the wind blow, hear the wind blow, dear, hear the wind blow. Roses love sunshine, violets love blue. Angels in heaven know I love you. Know I love you, dear. Know I love you. Angels in heaven know I love you. If you don't love me, love whom you please. Throw your arms round me, give my heart ease, give my heart ease, dear, give my heart ease. Throw your arms round me, give my heart ease. Build me a castle 40 feet high, so I can see him as he rides by. As he rides by, dear, as he rides by, so I can see him as he rides by. Write me a letter, send it by mail, send it in care of a Birmingham jail. Birmingham jail, dear, Birmingham jail. Send it in care of Birmingham jail. Writing this letter containing 3 lines. Answer my question, will you be mine? Will you be mine, dear? Will you be mine? Answer my question, will you be mine?
101.
Highway 101, okay.
Revisited. Oh, Mary, don't you weep.
Which one?
Oh, Mary, don't you weep.
See, it looks like,
Okay.
unless he's transposing it to another key.
All right. Harmonica, Tony.
Yeah.
Oh,
Key of G.
Key of G?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
okay, I do have that one.
G harp.
Key of G, looks like.
G.
Okay.
If I could, I surely would stand on the rock where Moses stood. Oh, Pharaoh's army got drowned. Oh, Mary, don't you weep. Oh, Mary, don't you weep, don't you mourn. Oh, Mary, don't you weep, don't you mourn. Oh, Pharaoh's army got drowned. Oh, Mary, don't you weep. Mary wore 3 links of chain. Every link was a freedom's name. Oh, Pharaoh's army got drowned. Oh, you weep. Moses stood on the Red Sea shore, smoting the water with a 2x4. Pharaoh's army got drowned. Oh, Mary, don't you weep. Oh, Mary, don't you weep, don't you mourn. Oh, Mary, don't weep, don't you mourn. Oh, Pharaoh's army got drowned. Oh, Mary, don't you weep. God gave Noah a rainbow sign. No more water, but a fire next time. Oh, Pharaoh's army got drowned. Oh, Mary, don't you weep. The Lord told Moses what to do to lead those Hebrew children through. Oh, Pharaoh's army got drowned. Oh, Mary, don't you weep. Oh, Mary, don't you weep, don't you mourn. Oh, Mary, don't weep, don't mourn. Oh, Pharaoh's army got drowned. Oh, Mary, don't you weep.
Requests?
98.
I know what that one is.
I'm a pilgrim.
I'm a pilgrim.
More gospel music.
Can I ask for the one after this?
Yeah. The one after 909? What's that? Yeah.
37?
33. Well, I am a pilgrim and a stranger, traveling through this wearisome land. I got a home in that yonder city, Lord, and it's not old. No, it's not made by hand. Well, I got a mother, a sister and brother, who have gone this way before. I am determined to go and see them, good Lord, over on, yes, over on that other shore. I'm going down to my wearisome soul. If I can just touch
the hem of his garment, good Lord, then I know, oh Lord, I know He'd take me home.
Stranger
traveling through this wearisome land. I've got a home in that yonder city, good Lord, and it's not, oh Lord, it's not made by hand.
Number 33.
33. Okay. Both sides.
For at the request of the preacher today,
Challenge. Let's see.
huh? Okay. Diane, you should sing the lead on this.
Can I do this?
Yeah. Why don't you just play it? In the key of G.
G. Oh, it's G.
All right, everything in the key of G.
G, George.
Okay.
Diane.
She's got to have a mic.
Here you go. Microphone.
Angels there in ice cream castles in the air, feather canyons everywhere. I've looked at clouds that way, but now they only block the sun. They rain and snow on everyone. So many things I would have done, but clouds got in the way.
I've looked at clouds from both sides now, from up and down, and still somehow it's clouds' illusions I recall. I really don't know clouds at all.
Moods and shoes and Ferris wheels, the dizzy dancing way through
You leave them laughing when you go. And if you care, don't give yourself away. I've looked at love from both sides now, from give and take, and still somehow it's love's illusions I recall. I really don't know love at all. Tears and fears and feeling proud to say I love you right out loud. Dreams and schemes and circus crowds, I've looked at life that way. But now friends are getting strange. They shake their heads, they say I've changed. But now friends are something's gained. And every day I've looked at life from both sides now, from win and lose, and still somehow it's life's illusions I recall. I really don't know life at all. At all.
Welcome to Walker Church, where our mission is to nurture spirituality, build caring community, and work courageously for peace,
with
justice, and mercy.
Blessed be.
For a moment.
Yeah, well, we gotta get an armchair.
Yeah, this works. That chair works.
I think what comes next is the invocation. Good morning, beloveds. How are you? I am fine. It is fall. It is just after the autumnal equinox. We are heading out of the active, busy like bees time, and we are heading into fall, going toward winter, and we are heading into the dream time. This is the time to go within. This is the time to nourish your roots and to nourish your dreams. So I'd like to do a little bit of a slower one to get us in touch with the elements this morning. So you're welcome to sing along with me. We're going to connect with the air, the fire, the water, and the earth. Air, I am. Fire, I am. Water, earth, and spirit, I am. Air, I am. Fire, I am. Water, earth, and spirit, I am. Air, I am. Breathe it in. Fire, I am. Feel the pulse. Water, earth, and spirit, I am. Feel the water flowing through your veins. Feel the earth beneath your feet. And feel the spirit as it all connects to make the whole. Blessed be.
I did not know.
Lao Tzu. Can you hear? Oh, yeah. Existence is beyond the power of words to define. Existence is beyond the power of words to define. Terms may be used, but are none of them absolute. In the beginning of heaven and earth, there were no words. Words came out of the womb of matter. And whether a person dispassionately sees to the core of life or passionately sees the surface, the core and the surface are essentially the same, words making them seem different. Only to express appearance. If name be needed, wonder names them both. From wonder into wonder, existence opens. 5 minutes of silence.
if some of you have really good memories, you may, I think I might have read this a couple of years ago. It's a poem by E.B. White entitled Natural History. The spider, dropping down from twig, unwinds a thread of her devising, a thin premeditated rig to use in rising. And all the journey down through space in cool descent and loyal-hearted, she builds a ladder to the place from which she started. Thus I, gone forth as spiders do, in spider's web a truth discerning, attach one silken strand to you for my returning.
Okay, let's take some time for offering and announcements. Let's see, I've got some announcements here. Next Sunday, Joe Hessler will be doing projecting a TED Talk. It's not working. No. Hello? No. Hello? This one? Okay. Yeah, it's on. Maybe.
Out of battery.
Hello? Yeah, so he'll have a TED Talk. Look at the bulletin to find out the name of the talk. That'll be over the. Oh, thank you. And then on the 16th, Janet Skidmore is going to have a blessing of the animals service, as we've done before. October 23rd, Tony is speaking on the subject, putting the holy back into healing. And on the 30th, David West is doing a Day of the Dead service. The Apocalypse Cafe begins tomorrow evening, 7 o'clock, upstairs in the cafeteria. Food distribution at Walker is now on Mondays from noon until 2. And we're starting to have a Walker Church social gathering convened by Janet on the next one will be on October 5th at 7 p.m. in the meditation room. We go around the circle and each person can say what's on their mind, sing a song, or whatever. Tony's book release event is this coming Friday at 7 o'clock. Right here in the sanctuary, right, Tony? And music by Van Nixon and Cheryl Kramer, also on Friday the 7th from 7 to 9 at Galapagos Restaurant and Bar on Lake Street. Yes, we've got, Jan is going to have some announcements here. A report, I bet.
Okay, I'm here. You're hearing me, yes. Okay. The one board met with the proposed candidate for Walker Church interim pastor, David Wheeler. On Thursday, September 28th, we discussed Walker's needs and priorities in depth, especially as we move into this time of transition. The board affirmed the appointment of Reverend Wheeler as half-time interim pastor effective November 1st. He is enthusiastic, motivated, and eager to serve us. Are there any questions? Wow. And I'll mention, Mary doesn't know this yet, but we asked him specifically if he would like to continue working with Mary in the future, and he said, oh, yes. So we'll still be seeing Mary around.
I have an announcement. Here.
That was it? Oh. Well, that's great. Okay. No more announcements, then. Oh, you have one. All right.
I don't know how many people this affects, but Mary Buckley has been diagnosed with COVID. And so the rest of her family is probably in the mix there somehow too. So mask up, people.
Yeah, Mary was going to be helping with the Apocalypse Cafe, so, but we can have an apocalypse on our own. Okay, other announcements. Coffee is served back here. Go slurp some down. Okay, are we ready? Are we ready for our scripture? Everybody say, yes! You can be wherever you want. Do you want a microphone or is that one?
This is fine, but I want to set a music stand up. This way I can walk around and intimidate people more easily. Yeah, I know, I didn't want that on the mic. So pretty not record. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. And the light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. That's the first chapter of John. It's thought of as the most mystic of the Gospels. And when I discovered that I was going to be doing this talk this morning, the first thing that came to my mind, because Conrad had just been talking about the dyslexic, come on, help me out. The agnostic dyslexic insomniac who was wondering, spending all night awake, wondering if there was a God, was a dog. And so I immediately started thinking about the nature of reality. So my theme today was going to be reality, yours, mine, ours. I realized that's a little bit off of what I'm going to end up talking about, because I'm going to try to get a little bit of sense about something that seems to me to be going on in the world. I want to start, though, by thinking about the way we have different perceptions of reality. Just before I retired, one of my colleagues had a client who had been diagnosed psychiatrically as delusional. Due to my friend's good lawyering, she ended up successfully winning in her legal situation. But in the meantime, before that happened, she had to address with the client this diagnosis and what it meant. And the client said, "What do you mean by delusional? What are you talking about?" And so my friend said to the client, "Well, here we are in the big lobby." This was in juvenile court in downtown Minneapolis. She says, "Walk down to the elevators and back." You should know, as a predicate to that this woman had been telling me as well as the lawyer who was involved in this, had been saying, you know, whenever I go out to the mall and I walk around, people are always whispering at me. They're always telling me something. They're talking about me behind my back. And so my friend said, "Walk down to the elevator and back." And she walked down to the elevator and she walked back and she says, "Did you hear anybody talking to you?" And she says, "Yeah, all the way. People over there by the various benches were looking at me and pointing at me and talking about me." And my colleague said, "But you know, I didn't see any of that. It looked to me as if nobody paid any attention to you at all. Now, I want you to know that's what we mean by delusional. You see things one way, I see things another way." I wonder what a third party might have said if there'd been some dispassionate person looking at the two of them. Would somebody else have said, "Well, she just missed it. There really were people watching," or would it have been some entirely different thing? No, she really flew down and back. I don't know. What I do know is that those two people had each a very sincere belief about what had just gone on, and they were in some disagreement. My colleague shared what I liked at that time and still often refer to as was a participant in consensus reality. That is, we may not agree about everything, but there's some stuff we all agree about. For example, something that's probably consensus reality is every one of us is going to die. As soon as that thought came to my mind while I was thinking about today, I thought about, well, what about all those people going up in the rapture? Now, I'm not a big fan of the book of Revelation, but I have an understanding that there are many people who believe that at some time, unknown to us, there's going to be a moment when all of those who are true believers, who are still in the body, are going to simply be transferred bodily to the heavenly realm. And I believe that's described as the rapture. I know I've seen a bumper sticker someplace saying, when the rapture comes, who gets your car? Thank you for making the coffee, by the way. The point is that other than the rapture or other mystical things, one of the pieces of reality that we all share is the fact that we're all mortal. And there's a little part of me that says, well, maybe I'm not right about that. Maybe that's not right. But the reality, from my point of view, as I look at what I think of as reality is, I'm going to die. So is everybody else. It's one of the great equalizers. But there are a lot of other things that we run into right now where we have disagreements about what reality is. When I was a teenager, I got enamored of a certain kind of science fiction in which there were various books that talked about alternative universes, alternative realities. One of the first ones to get me when I was about 13 was a short story by Robert A. Heinlein called They, in which, yeah. Somehow I knew you had read that story, Alan. They is simply a guy who's, it's all from his own perspective for the most part. He's institutionalized in what appears to be a mental hospital. And he plays the violin beautifully, and he keeps saying, you guys are lying to me, this isn't reality. And when he goes to sleep, sometimes as he's just waking up, he feels as if his consciousness is aware of some different reality that he gets. But each day when he actually wakes up, he loses it all. And the reason that he's suspicious about all of this is because one day when he was in his house, he looked out the front window and there was a bright, sunny, clear day. And when he went to the other side of the house, it was a hurricane or something on the other side. It was clear that somebody was manipulating his environment in a way to keep him in check. And the theme of the story is that he's correct. That there really is a group of people, the leader of whom is apparently called the Glaroon, and that what they're doing is continuously trying to keep him from being able to focus on what's real. They keep fooling him with all this illusionary stuff. Some of you have heard me talk about one of my favorite mystical heroes. How about hero? That's a good word. Named Meher Baba, who's said at various times that the whole world is all illusion, and that what we're doing is we're simply working through God's dream in the process of trying to wake up. I can't prove that. In fact, I was thinking that what I ought to do is try to say that I'm going to prove conclusively today that nothing can be proven. But anyway, the point of that is that since I was a little kid, I've had doubts raised in my mind about all sorts of things. When I was a young adult, I brought that sort of talk up to my friends that I would go out partying with, and I'd say things like, you don't know whether this is real. When you stamp down, you feel the floor beneath you, but you don't really know there's a floor beneath you. And one day when I was, forgive me, intoxicated, I was leaning against a wall and the wall kept moving. And I said, something's wrong with the wall. And one of my alleged friends looked at me and laughed and said, it's not really there, which was unsettling to say the least. The point is that even trying to just be in everyday situations, we end up coming into situations where we wonder if something is real or if something is not real. There's a current events cycle that we're going through right now that talks about what was real in our election, and a further current events cycle about what was real on January 6th. I watched television for 18 hours on January 6th or something like that through all of that, and I've been told now that in fact I wasn't watching, that what I was watching was really a bunch of people doing a tour. I feel like what that is saying to me is that what I used to think of as consensus reality does not seem anymore to exist. We don't have consensus reality as a society in a way that we had in the past. And that's very concerning to me. If I look back at my adolescent games, mind games, I say, well, that's the way it ought to be. We ought to all be unsure about everything. That's the perfect agnostic point of view, I guess. You don't really know whether anything is true. But we have a disagreement about what appear to be fundamental reality. So what is reality? When a pitcher throws the baseball at home plate, everybody seems able to agree about the fact that the ball went from his hand towards the plate and then was either hit or caught. But people have a big disagreement about whether it was a ball or a strike. You got a guy standing there behind the plate telling you what it is, and as a good fan of baseball, I spend a lot of time out there saying, no, you're wrong, I can see it from here. I can see that pitch better than the umpire because my angle up there behind up on the right field side is superior to his of looking at the ball from right in front of him, I guess. Well, the ability to observe is very important. I don't know which group of people this was, but I understand that there was at least one indigenous nation in the United States, in the area of America, that had a way of looking at the world of saying, we evaluate facts in two different ways. Either I saw it myself or someone told me about it. And the things you say I saw myself are considered reliable, and the things somebody told me about are questionable. And needless to say, that was a great problem for Christian missionaries. And I think that, of course, you can solve that in a different way, and I think that probably the missionaries figured out how to do that, because let's look at it. The resurrection is one of those big things where there are a number of people who wrote gospels and said, I saw this. I saw Jesus. I saw him die. I saw him rise from the dead. Everybody else says, I didn't see it. And of course, that's where Christianity gets into the question of faith, because nobody is saying you had to see it. You have to believe it anyway. And I don't know how you feel about the resurrection. I'm a bit skeptical about it myself. I've read some good science fiction explanations of it that are very attractive too. But I certainly have read the kinds of advice that were given to us and the kinds of things about how you ought to behave by Jesus, and I certainly have a huge admiration for the example that he tried to set. And I don't know whether it's important to a person to believe in the resurrection in order to try to live as we have been advised to in the New Testament. That's part of why I thought it was nice to bring the Gospel of John up at the beginning, because he's not trying to talk to you about facts. He's trying to talk to you about something else. And I'm not trying to convert you to Christianity because it hasn't worked for me yet either. Chuck and I were just talking about this on the drive over. Our father was a Lutheran minister for many years, and I told Chuck that I did something unusual, that when I knew I had to speak for 20 minutes today, I took more than 20 minutes to prepare it. And he said that our dad had generally said, I take about an hour a minute to get a sermon ready, that if he was going to preach a 20-minute sermon, he'd take 20 hours to get it prepared. And I believe it. We heard him preach for years, and he was a fine preacher. And I think he really did it. He did spend that much time doing it. But he also wasn't spending his time talking about the stuff I'm talking about right now. He spent his time talking about faith and about grace and about the fact that no matter, he would have liked what Walter used to say, God's going to love you no matter what you do. He doesn't, no matter whether you want him to or not, God's still going to love you. You can't stop it. And I think that our father probably had that at the core of his theology too, which was certainly an influence on me. Thinking about this whole thing, getting back to the reality question, we often think about the world in terms of what's real and what's not, and sometimes we like to make up other worlds, like one of my favorites to talk about is The Wizard of Oz and the Land of Oz, how Dorothy gets moved by a tornado into a place that nobody can find, and we probably know all of the story about it. The Land of Oz is a place where things are very different. I discovered in my work, because I worked in juvenile court for 20 years, that I had something that other attorneys didn't have. Carol and I used to have lunch sometimes, and we'd sit down and she'd talk about what was going on in family court, and I'd talk about what was going on in juvenile court, and we'd each say, boy, I'm glad I'm not in your place. And the reason for that, and without getting into the faults of family court, of which I think there may be a few, juvenile court is set up so that people are trying to do things in a different way than they do with adults, and it's very frustrating and very, very unlike any other legal situation that you're likely to find in the United States. And I discovered from this that over the years, people that would be rated in the magazines as a super lawyer, people who'd been big-time prosecutors or big-time defense attorneys, would call me up occasionally and say, Jim, I got something in juvenile court and I can't figure out what's going on. These are really smart people, really good lawyers, and they'd suddenly come to juvenile court. And I said, welcome to the Land of Oz. The difference is that there was only one wizard in the Land of Oz. And juvenile court had, I think when I left, they had 8 judges. So there were 8 different wizards. And every one of them thought that they knew what was going on. It was quite a mystery all the time to try to get through and to try to discover what was real. As a defense lawyer, my job was made easier when I could enforce the rules. The book of rules, the rules of court, the laws that talk about what a police officer can do and what they can't, what a social worker can do and what they can't, made it easier for me, because I could say at this point, you have to follow the rules. When you're trying to say this person did something, you have certain rules you have to follow to prove it. And those rules all evaporated in juvenile court. It was very common for people to make kind of shoot from the hip judgments about whether something was true or not, whether something was right or not. And part of the reason for that is because really none of us know how to raise kids. I mean, all we do is we all kind of do the best we can and hope that things work out. But I know as a parent with 2 kids, I look back and I can't imagine how I survived it or how they survived it, except that they did. And my parents, I think, probably had similar feelings when they looked at us and wondered, what's going on? How did they ever make it through there? Because trying to raise children and trying to be parents is one of those things that isn't exactly susceptible to legal analysis. You can look at it and say, well, this kid was hurt, or you can look at it and say, this kid did something wrong, but you can't necessarily say, therefore we know what we ought to do next to make this kid be different, because you don't know. We've had some very personal examples of that within the congregation here, and I think We know that how frustrating and that can be. Part of that is because we don't know in general about the world, but part of it is because the Land of Oz has a special encampment in places where the raising of children becomes an important part of it. You know, I didn't plan to say any of this. This is all outside of my plan for the day. Yeah, I know. I do know that there's something about what you see, and I want to get back to what the indigenous thing is about. I saw it or somebody told me about it. And that is that as I was getting to the end of my career, we were getting more and more suspicious of eyewitness testimony, more and more suspicious of persons saying, I was there, I saw it, this is what happened. The best example I had in a trial was one where I had a young man as a client who had tattoos all the way up and down both arms. And he was accused of committing an armed robbery, and the victim of the armed robbery said that he had been confronted by a young man wearing a muscle shirt, which meant that his arms and shoulders were totally visible, and that the young man had grabbed him and used physical force on him to hurt. And I asked the victim, while he was on the witness stand, I said, and did you notice his tattoos? The guy said, I didn't see any tattoos. And unlike many cases, I did ask my client to testify, or advised him to testify, and had him stand up with a short-sleeved shirt and let the jury see his arms, and then ask them to add 1 and 1. And this was one of those, that was when my winning streak started, actually. But the point of that is, the reality is, the guy who had been robbed really was robbed. And he was really robbed by a live human being. And I mean, my feeling about it was that it wasn't that kid. I mean, everything I looked about at it looked to me like it was an example of police racist misbehavior, because they chased a bunch of people down and found a bunch of black kids sitting in front of a house over by 35W. And there were 3 kids there, and one of them clearly was part of it. And the victim identified him, and nobody made any fight about it, and that kid eventually confessed. But there were 2 people involved, and there were 2 other kids sitting there, and the other kid clearly wasn't. But my client wasn't even dressed right, didn't look right at all. But the victim was feeling pressed by the police to identify 2 people, because he said he'd been robbed by 2 people. So he said, well, it must be him. And they went ahead and had a jury trial based on what I thought was very bad police work. But the reason for that is because they have a different reality. That's one of the reasons. That their reality is, we're going to catch someone and close the case. And if the person happens to be black, that makes it easier. And that was kind of what happened, because they'd figured out that that was there. The whole point I'm trying to get at with this is, we really don't know when somebody else tells us. We don't know in some hard scientific way most of the time whether what they're saying is true. There's too much information in the world for us to get it all. I don't know anything about nuclear physics, and yet I'm being asked as a citizen to make decisions about nuclear reactors and atomic bombs, at least in terms of who I vote for and how I talk about that. I don't know very much about a lot of the things. I could never build a car, but I drive one all the time. And I don't know how to do those things. What I'm doing when I'm driving is also demonstrating faith. Because when I'm driving down Lake Street, my faith is that all the people coming the other way are going to stay on their side. That all the people on my side are going to drive with at least a minimum measure of sanity. That we're all going to be safe. We all are living on faith. We don't know what that other person's thinking. We don't know if they're angry, and yet we all do that. What I'm getting at with that is, we're not grounded in fact all the time. We're grounded in what makes the most sense to us. And that's something different. And that's why I was talking earlier about consensus reality. Now, as I'm talking about this, I realize that consensus reality isn't dead. I mean, there's still lots and lots of things like driving cars where, for the most part, we just accept that there's a reality that we go along with. But I'm sorry. I remember last night writing down a quote that I wanted to be sure to say, and it's consensus reality ain't what it used to be. And I think that's true. It isn't what it used to be, but we're still mostly trying to keep an agreement about most of the things that are real in the world and trying to get on with it. I'd like to stop talking. We have, if you people are inclined to feedback here, I'll be willing to let you do that. Otherwise, Chuck and I are going to do a song. I think, I don't know, I don't see anybody leaping to the thing. How about if we just do this? Oh, okay. Don't talk about faith.
No. Actually, it is about faith, but in the middle of the word faith, and I think this really fits in, are the letters A and I, which can stand for artificial intelligence.
Okay. Because I was talking about the Land of Oz, I asked Chuck to come and play our favorite song about the Land of Oz, Over the Rainbow. And you may know, as he's working up to it, I'll remind you that he's tried to start an action to have it declared a state song by the state of Minnesota, and we don't know if there's been any progress on that. But it seemed like it would really be great after the Gophers win a football game to see them. Oh, here, that's good. Thank you. Anyway. He's going to start to play, and I'm going to jump in with my horn as we get going.
Let's see if we have any joys and concerns to share. There you go. Get Diane into this circle here.
Yeah, contrary to what you may have read, Alan has switched up, and we're going to do page 88 for the closing song.
A joy or concern here?
I'll fly away.
Okay, we're having joys and concerns. We're having joys and concerns here.
I had the extremely unpleasant experience last night of being chased by a stick, or chased by my neighbor with a stick trying to hit me. He's a man with a long history of mental health problems, and it's creeping me out. I wasn't really hurt, but and I have to say the precinct cops were there in about 5 minutes. About 6 neighbors came out and offered support, and so that was positive. But yeah, do I want to live there? I don't know.
Thank you.
Oh, I'll say something about, Lou has a really bad cold, so she couldn't be here today, but she left treats anyway. And I talked to her last night, and she still had 3 major events that she had to take care of before she went to bed last night. So the woman is busy, busy, busy. Say a little prayer for her so she can have some calming time. Yes, it would be good for us, too.
Oh, yeah.
I have an upper endoscopy tomorrow to check my Barrett's esophagus and see. Hopefully, it has not progressed in 5 years, so we'll see. And I should be able to go to the Apocalyptic Cafe on Monday night, but I'm not supposed to drive. So if anyone is going that might be able to give me a ride, that'd be great.
I'm flying to Seattle on Thursday, which is both a joy and a concern to see my sister.
This is a joy and a concern. It's a joy to have coffee at our house on Monday mornings again, and I'm concerned that everybody should know that.
Okay.
This isn't working. It was it? Is it? Okay.
Let's see whose birthday it's.
Birthdays. Hearing none. Going, gone.
All right.
Some glad morning when this life is over, I'll fly away to a home on God's celestial shore. I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away
in the morning
when I die. Hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. When the shadows of this life have grown, I'll fly away. Like a bird that prison bars have flown, I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away in the morning when I die. Hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. Just a few more
more weary days, and then I'll fly away to a land where joy shall never end. I'll fly away. I'll fly away. Oh, glory. I'll fly away in the morning when I die. Hallelujah, by and by. I'll fly away. Acapella. Fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away in the morning when I die. Hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. Blessed be. Peace to you all. Shalom. I was going to listen to that song. And then Diane was sleeping in the other room. So